Commissioners meeting this November 9th, 2021. We had scheduled to be here Pastor Tom Tanner. If you're here, please come forward. He was to provide our invocation, followed by the pledge, which will be brought by Deputy Zach Rainwater of the Sheriff's Office. Seeing that the pastor is not here, we will have a moment of silence, then followed by our pledge. Please join me in a moment of silence if you're willing and able. Thank you. Deputy.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Our meeting is officially called to order. As is customary for our second Tuesday meeting, we will receive an update regarding COVID-19 from Cobb Douglas Public Health.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having us this morning. Let me go ahead and share and get this going. Okay, great. So we'll go ahead and get started. So we have a little delay in the data. Yesterday's data did not get reported, so we have to give you some data from late last week. So right now, what we're looking at is our case rates at about 149 cases per 100,000 for Cobb County. It has been coming down nicely, but it's kind of hit a little bit of a plateau, so we're very interested in seeing what's going to happen this week with our numbers. Remember, 149 is still over high transmission, so 100 is considered high transmission, so we're still in that area, but we hope that we will see some more downward trends soon. And so this is what our epi curve is looking like. And so when we look at what the last surge was like back in January, and then this most recent Delta surge, you can see how the comparisons, this was a pretty big surge compared to our previous surges. And what was the difference this time is that it was mostly unvaccinated people that really got hit hard with this one, with hospitalizations and unfortunately deaths. You can see it's come down, and we've got a little bit of a plateauing that's happening here, but we hopefully will break through that. Hospitalizations have also continued to improve, so we're very excited to see that as well. And we really closely are monitoring any flu activity that's happening in our area. Another good indicator is the positive percentage rate that's come down below 5%. So we're at 3.6% at this time. Remember, we wanted to be under 5%. So that's very good news as we watch just the status of this this pandemic. This is one of the charts that we watch very closely, and so this is telling us what kind of variants that we have that are currently circulating. It continues to be the Delta variant, and this is as of the 30th, so about 1 week behind. Some of you may have heard about Delta Plus that has been circulating in the UK. There are some isolated incidents in the United States, and so far, when I looked at the status yesterday that DPH sent out, there was no cases in Georgia thus far. We continue to be over 99% in Georgia for the Delta variant, so it continues to be our major lineage that is circulating. All talk these days is about vaccines. So here's where Georgia lies currently at about 56% for first doses and 50% for fully vaccinated. And this is what it looks like for Georgia, just the layout. And I'm going to ask them today if they're going to add the 5 to 10-year-old range, but you can see how the older you get, that the more coverage that we seem to have. When we look at Cobb County, you can see that we're doing better than that, so very good. At 56% that are fully vaccinated and 61% with first doses. We are seeing a good influx of children that are getting their vaccines, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, but we've been doing pretty well with our vaccination efforts. And then you can see our age ranges as well, and so we have about a third of our 10 to 14-year-olds are vaccinated, and then the 5 to 11s are going to be added in with this new vaccine. All right, so this is what we currently have out right now, and I know this is a little confusing, and I appreciate you giving me a little time to talk to people about this. The vaccines are currently out, so you all know that we have the 3 vaccines that are out, and we have the new 5 through 11 vaccines that have been approved for the the emergency use authorization for children 5 through 11. And so there's a little bit of confusion when I'm talking to people out and about what vaccines are available to who. So let's start with the boosters to make it a little bit easier. And so we currently have 3 booster shots that are available. So we put together the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. So who is eligible for this? I think almost everybody is eligible to get a booster unless you are really kind of a shut-in that doesn't have much contact with the outside world. Anybody over 65, anybody over 18 who lives in long-term settings or has any underlying medical conditions, or where you're in a higher risk setting. And to me, a higher risk setting is if you're having face-to-face contact with people, that puts you at higher risk. And so even the people that are working at your grocery stores, they're considered higher risk. So if you were out and about, you were considered higher risk. When you can get your booster is 6 months after your first series was done. So whether that's the second vaccine or if you had that third vaccine for being immunocompromised, it's 6 months after that. Then you're eligible to get your booster shot. The Johnson & Johnson, they did a little bit differently because it was a one-shot vaccine. Anybody over 18, after 2 months after that dose, you are eligible for a booster shot. The great thing is that they have made it so that if you weren't happy with the first one, or you wanted to try something different, or you only have certain vaccine available in your area, you can pick any vaccine and get the booster for that. So those are the 3 vaccines. I hope that helps a little bit. If you just remember, if you're out and about, just take a look at the time frame and see if you are able to get the booster. So this is over time looking at our COVID cases, and you can see that we had a big spike in children this time, 11 through 17, and this is by population. And so this time we did have, because schools were in session and there were no vaccine available, and the Delta surge was very contagious. So talking about 5 through 11-year-olds, so we had almost 2 million cases of children that were infected with COVID in the United States, and so we had over 8,300 children had been hospitalized, and almost a third of them did not have any sort of underlying condition, and a third of those were admitted to the ICUs. So some of you have heard of the severe inflammatory condition, the MIS-C condition, that is most frequent in children 5 through 11. And this year, we found from October to October that COVID was the 8th cause of death in children in this age group. So why it's so important is because we now have a vaccine that is available, and we had over 2,000 people that participated in the vaccine trials, and was found to be over 91% effective. And this was to prevent any symptomatic COVID disease. When you look at the safety of the vaccine was very, very good. Very similar to what we saw in adults with people having fatigue and headache and pain at the injection site. Sometimes you had a little bit of swollen lymph nodes or a little bit of local skin rashes and things. Now, some of you may be asking yourselves about that rare case of cases of myocarditis or pericarditis, the heart inflammation that was seen. Now, the difference with this vaccine is it's only 1/3 the dose of the adult vaccine. I think that's very important. They did not see any cases of myocarditis or any anaphylaxis or even deaths in children during this time with this trial. So I think that's very important. I'm very relieved because I have an 11-year-old myself, 11-year-old boy, and I know it was really rare, but it's always in the back of your head just to kind of be vigilant if your child gets a vaccine. So I'm very excited to get him this vaccine before he turns 12. So CDPH has launched giving all the boosters and vaccines now. In our main county sites in Douglas and in Marietta, that's where we'll be offering all of the vaccines. The other outlying centers, you have to just take a look. It'll be Pfizer and Moderna in most of those centers, and that's only just because to decrease the risk of having any errors, and then also just the handling of the vaccines. It's a lot of vaccines to try to give in every location. So if you go on our forums, you can see where you can get the vaccines. The Pfizer pediatric will be offered in all of our centers that vaccinate, so you will be able to do that. So you can go online and click and get yourselves an appointment, and there are lots of appointments available, so we're really happy about that.
And Dr. Mark, just to add, we're also accepting walk-ins at all our clinics until 4 o'clock. So between 8 and 4, folks can just walk in to get vaccinated.
Thank you, Lisa, for mentioning that. We do have some outreach events as well, and so you can take a look, and if there's something that's closer to you or a different time that's available, these events are available as well. So it looks like next Thursday we'll be at the Franklin Gateway, the soccer complex at night. So if you need some evening hours, you can do that as well. Our core team is still with us, and they're out and about vaccinating as well. They should be ready to launch the pediatric vaccine very soon. For right now, they are doing the Moderna and Pfizer mostly at their locations, and some J&J I see on there. And here's some more locations. You can see it changes every week, so you're welcome to go to the site. And we also have testing that's still available, and so we will be closing the Chuck Camp location because they need that location back, but we have the Epicenter location and the health parks that are also available. These are ones that are free to use, and they are the full PCR versions of the test. And if we see with the federal mandates, if we need more testing, we'll certainly expand testing as necessary. Okay, and we have lots of testing available, which is great. All right, and I think that's it for us, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you, Dr. Memark. We appreciate your presentation as usual. I'm going to see if commissioners have any questions or comments this morning. I do have a question, Dr. Memark. The outreach events that are listed, will they also have the vaccine available for those 5 through 11 at those?
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. They're specified on there. We didn't want to have people come inadvertently if they didn't have pediatric vaccinators there. It does take a little extra training to be able to do that. So it will be listed there which vaccines will be given. So just take a look at that. And I think Marietta City Schools will be doing a big event coming up soon as well. And so for their folks, it'll be nice. They will be able to vaccinate a lot of their folks.
Very good. Thank you. I, too, have an 11-year-old and am relieved that he's now able to get vaccinated. Thank you.
Yep. Do it before he turns 12. That's what I say.
Okay. Amen. All right. Thank you again for that presentation. You have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we will be moving on to our presentation period of the program. We have 3 that will be provided. The first one, which I think most of us are gathered here for today, it is to present a proclamation to the Atlanta Braves for an outstanding season and for winning the 2021 World Series Championship. So if representation from that organization can join me down here, appreciate it, as well as all of our commissioners. Oh, somebody had to break out the jersey this morning. We are all very excited to be here and appreciate you hanging out with us, as I know you are probably in need of a well-deserved break, but thank you for giving us the opportunity to recognize you this morning. Some of you know the festivities that we had I would just say over the past weekend, but it's really been a series of weeks. Thank you, Dr. McMorris, for joining us, considering her labor. And we wanted to recognize you, and before I read this proclamation, I would like to recognize the many men and women that we do have here who helped to contribute to what I would consider a successful weekend and series of events leading up to it. There were so much of us that put Cobb County on such a great platform for the world to see how we come together to make great things happen. And we did it for this World Series, but we did it because we do it every day. And I want to thank you for all that you guys did to make us shine so brightly. I didn't hear of too much of a hitch except for a bus traveling a little too quickly down Peachtree Road, but in the Battery, it was going at, proper speed. But other than that, I just want to thank you. I don't know how many people can even fit up here, because I will just love at some point, even after this presentation, that we do have the number of people that help to make this just a fantastic weekend. But with that, I'm going to present to you our proclamation, Mike. Whereas the Atlanta Braves won the 2021 Major League Baseball World Series on November 2nd, 4-2, with an impressive 7-0 win against the Houston Astros in Game 6 at Minute Maid Park in Houston. This is the Atlanta Braves' first World Series title since 1995 and their first appearance in the Fall Classic since 1999. And whereas the Braves overcame many hurdles throughout the season, including losing key players to injury and playing below 500 until August 6th. At that time, computer models actually put the Braves' chances of making the playoff at less than 8%. But the players, coaches, and fans never lost hope. And whereas several key player acquisitions before the league's trade deadline bolstered the Atlanta Braves leading up to the postseason, this, among other things, helped the Braves win their fourth straight National League East pennant. Then, in the postseason, the Braves overcame the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Division Series. The Braves then beat defending World Series champs, the Los Angeles Dodgers, in the National League Championship Series, landing the Braves in the World Series, where they ultimately claimed victory. And whereas the Braves baseball franchise, founded in Boston in 1871 and located in Milwaukee from 1953 to 1965, is the oldest continuously operating professional sports franchise in the country. The Braves moved to Truist Park here in Cobb County, playing their first season here in the spring of 2017. As the Braves organization entered its 150th anniversary, it was sadly marked by the loss of legendary Brave, number 44, Hank Hammerin' Hank Aaron, in January, and Phil Nuxie Necro last December. Now, therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby congratulate the Atlanta Braves on triumphing this 2021 World Series championship. Your energy, your passion, and perseverance in the face of adversity have inspired all of us and united us. Thank you for giving us a season to remember. You make us so proud to be a part of Braves country. Presented this the 9th of November 2021. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes.
Thank you, Chairwoman Cupid. I'm Mike Plant. I'm the President and CEO of the Atlanta Braves Development. I know many of you in the room because you've been so supportive of us. This is a great honor for us, and to be standing here in Cobb County and with the leadership and all of the people that are responsible for helping us and our success. You know, it was almost 8 years ago to the day where we kind of shocked the world and said, we're moving the Atlanta Braves to Cobb County. And fortunately, because of the incredible private and public partnership, which I believe is unequaled anywhere in this country, we were successful in building Truist Park in a record time, and at the same time, what's now considered the Battery Atlanta. That vision was to create a destination year-round, transform an area of Cobb, and create a legacy. And we also made another commitment that we were going to bring the World Series to Cobb County, and we did it. And so it was, again, a collaborative effort, one that our players overcame incredible challenges and adversity this year. No one gave us a chance in August. We were believers. Alex, our GM, did incredible things at the trade deadline, and everything came together for us. We were never under any stress. We never went through a full series. We were never behind, which is really something to again, attribute to our team and our management and our whole staff. But this is a great honor, and we're going to try to recharge our battery a little bit, but we're already back into it. And believe it or not, we're going to go after another one and try to do a repeat next year. So we really appreciate, thank you. Just again, we really appreciate all the men and women in the back. We're not here without you. And the parade was just something that none of us will ever forget. And certainly the last month, you embark on this journey, and from day to day, we just don't know which end is up. And you were always so flexible and pivoted with us. So thank you. Our success is due to many of you that helped us get along this way. So I appreciate this honor. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, I'm going to have you take a brief picture with the commissioners, and then I'm actually going to call forward a lot of our supporters for this event. So, yes. All of you? Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
He's scared to stand on this with good reason. All right.
All right, ready for go Braves? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Good.
Just hold on, Mike. So again, just recognizing that this was truly a team effort for us to get here. I want to make sure I thank all of our county department heads, all of your staff who assisted in the coordination of this event to ensure a safe and exciting parade, and again, World Series venture. I would like for the following people to come up to be recognized, and then I'm going to try to cram as many people in the front of the room as possible for this picture that's going to follow. I'd like to first recognize, we have Dr. McMorris, who's up here today. Thank you for everything. Our Public Safety Director, Randy Kreider. Our Police Chief, Tim Cox. Come on up when I call you. It's like, the price is right. Come on down. Come on down. Want to thank your team. So if the team that works with you can also come down, everyone who is in public safety and police, please come on down. Want to recognize Sheriff Craig Owens and the deputies who assisted him in making this event possible. Come on down. DOT Director Drew Ressler and team. It's one thing for us to see the men and women in uniform to keep us safe, but we also had someone keep us safe on the roadways and to keep traffic moving. So grateful to recognize DOT, again, Drew Ressler and his team. Also recognizing 911 Director Melissa Alterio. Thank you for all that you do for us every day, but thank you especially for what you had to go above and beyond and do for this day. EMA Director Cassie Maslin, where are you? You and your team, come and join us up front here. Fire Department Deputy Chief Fire Marshal and EMA teams. Deputy Chief Carl Crumley, Nick Daw, Nick Adams, come join us here. Please. We had over 40 parks and recreation staff amongst our different departments, our department heads, all other departments who are here that were a part of this. Please join us up front. Thank you. Thank you, Kimberly. Information, yes. Information systems, got to have IS here. Anyone who's wearing the red and blue and just wants to be seen in a picture. Help us look festive. Come on down. Those who are less tall should be in the front. Those more tall should be in the back. Matter of fact, if we can just have a row of people go on the dais and stand up back there, that will help
more people be visible. Anybody else coming in, please just go up on the dais so you can be seen up there. If you cannot be seen, please go on the dais. I know we have some people here who can't be seen. Judy Jones. Yeah, come on up front, or you can go on the dais. Thank you, Kimberly. All right. Very good. So we're going to all huddle up. But again, thank you so much for all that you've done to make Cobb County stand out as a welcoming and safe place to be. You guys did that. All right. So Ross, you can let us know if you see us for this picture.
Yep, you're looking good. You all set? 3. Hang on. And give me one Go Braves. Go Braves! Go Braves!
All right. Thank you guys again. Truly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you for coming. Yep, you're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it. All righty. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Yep. Hey, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. All right. We'll wait for everyone to find their seats or their place, and then we'll go into our next presentation. Okay, our next presentation will be to provide a certificate of recognition to the 2020 Census Committee. If those who are a part of that proclamation, please come join us up front.
Great. It is with great honor that the Cobb County Board of Commissioners salutes you for your hard work and dedication towards the 2020 Decennial Census Count on Cobb Libraries project. Your contribution to increase participation in census data despite the challenges of COVID-19 helped aid in research for important topics such as political districts, federal funding, long-term planning, industry research on customer and patrons, etc. Your hard work did not go unnoticed, as it was featured in the first edition of the 2021 Census Best Practices Showcase newsletter. Thank you and congratulations on a successful project the second day of November 2021.
I believe you have some awards to pass out, and I'll be very brief in my comments. This group here, our library, I'm standing in for Helen Poyer. I want to give a shout out to Helen. I know she's watching virtually. She hadn't been feeling well, but she's never, ever off the job, so she's watching to make sure we carry this out. So thank you, Helen, for your leadership. I want to thank you, Commissioner, for recognition here. This group is outstanding. When that event did occur, there's not a lot of trust sometimes when it comes to the census. So I want to give a shout out to Community Development, Jessica and her team. They really knew who to reach out to, who did the public trust, what did the community feel comfortable going to, and that was our Cobb County Libraries. And these folks did an outstanding, excellent job. They have warned me not to give them the mic. They're very shy. and so I won't put them on the spot, but I can tell you, we have a team here of marketing folks, computer folks, GIS folks, just great leadership folks who got out, and communications got time over there. They did a great job in making sure that we exceeded our last benchmark. I think it was 69% participation, and we got beyond 72% participation. And our very own Sloan Williams, she was recognized as one of the marketers of the year by the Georgia Library Association. So to make it brief, so you can pass it out, I will call out names, and then you come up, please, and get your certificate. Helen Poirier's not here. I'll take hers. But Miss Dinah Bonesteel.
All right. Okay.
Miss Sloan Williams. Is Patricia Ball? I don't see Patricia here. Okay, Tom Brooks. All right, Mr. Corey Stiegel. One of my spelling bee 3-year time in a row championship partner, Raymond Gaslow. Miss Catherine Zavala, our bookmobile. Shannon Tyner, our virtual librarian. I don't see Wanda here, but we'll hold hers. And then I don't see John. All right, and so the rest are not here. So this is the team. Oh, who did I miss? Did I miss someone? Okay, we got everybody. Okay, so thank you all very much.
All right.
Thank you, Bill.
Slide on over.
Yes, come in the middle.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right. Now for our third presentation, we have a proclamation which will be going to the National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution American Indians Committee. If you can join us up front with Commissioner Burrow, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
I'm loud. Okay. Thank you, ladies, for being here today. I guess we saw you recently for Constitution Day. And now we're recognizing National American Indian Heritage Month for November. So the proclamation, whereas the history and culture of our great nation have been significantly influenced by American Indians and indigenous peoples, and whereas the contributions of American Indians have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America today, and whereas Native American Awareness Week began in 1976, and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George Bush in August of 1990, designating the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month. And whereas in honor of National American Indian Heritage Month, community celebrations, as well as numerous cultural, artistic, educational, and historical activities have been planned. Now therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim November as National American Indian Heritage Month in Cobb County and urge all citizens to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. This is the 9th day of November, 2021. Thank you. And Linda, you can say a few words and introduce. I will. Commissioner Burrell, thank you so much, and we appreciate your support and the Commission's support as we have various activities throughout the year. The Fielding Lewis chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution, have supported our American Indians in a number of ways with scholarships at the American Indian Youth Camp, the Cherokee Gardens at Green Meadows, and historic marker for the Hightower Trail. With me, I have Wanda Patterson, who is a chapter member and also the chair of the State Speaker Committee, Karen Cavett, our Vice Regent, Betty Mackey, our Commemorative Events Committee, and she brings goodies. Also Patricia Job had hoped to be here, and she's had a tire problem. So she is sad to miss this, but wanted to be sure we had it. So I wanted to let Wanda Patterson, who is an expert in our American Indian history, make a few comments.
We are most appreciative of the board for helping us to recognize National American Indian Heritage Month. This is particularly appropriate this year because 2021 is the 200th anniversary of the Cherokee Indian Sequoyah, who created a written language for his people, making the Cherokee, who lived primarily in Georgia prior to the Trail of Tears, the first native tribe to have its own written language, and as a result, the newspaper, the Cherokee Phoenix. So I encourage all of you to visit New Echota, north on 75 near Calhoun, which was the Cherokee capital prior to the Trail of Tears, to learn more about the Cherokee story. So thank you again for helping us to recognize the Native American Heritage Month.
Thank you. And we have a little token of appreciation for you and the Commission.
Yeah, just on the dais.
Thank you. Okay.
Just put it up there by my chair. Thank you. That is beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous?
My Braves pen.
Yeah, I know. You should have been up here for the first presentation. Can we get a picture?
All right, here we go. There we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda, we have one public hearing to conduct a public hearing prior to expending $100,000 or more for engineering design services for 2016's Bloss transportation improvements.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, County Manager. In the implementation and delivery of the 2016 Bloss Transportation Improvement Program, the Department anticipates awarding engineering design contracts that could exceed $100,000 for 2 sidewalk projects, Midway Road Sidewalk and Lost Mountain Road Sidewalk. So with that, we recommend the Board of Commissioners conduct a public hearing prior to expending $100,000 or more for engineering design services for various projects in the 2016 Bloss Transportation Improvements Program.
Thank you, Drew. Again, for our public hearing, anyone can speak. We have an unlimited number of speakers for 3 minutes apiece, speaking particularly on this matter. With that, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing, and feel free to approach the mic here and provide your comments. Okay, seeing no speakers for the public hearing, this hearing is now declared closed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have public comment.
Chairwoman, before we turn over the podium to the public comment, I think it's appropriate for the board to review the related meeting rules regarding public participation. When you approach, please state your name, and if you're speaking on behalf of an organization, all comments should be addressed through the chair. Public comment is not a dialogue with the board, but an opportunity for the speakers to provide their comments to the board. The comments should not be impertinent, derogatory, offensive, or slanderous in any way. To that end, the board encourages, regardless of the topic, the audience to be respectful and courteous to the speakers. Everyone attending this meeting should give others the right to both listen and be heard by treating the others with civility. Statements made during the public comments portion do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the board or Cobb County Government Administration. And I remind the speakers that there is a timer on the podium for you to track your time. With that being said, the first speaker is Jan Barton.
Good morning. I'm Jan Barton, and this week is Veterans Day on Thursday, and as we think about our veterans and our military and your support of them, we appreciate that. We realize the sacrifices they make for all of us to defend our freedoms and our rights to address our representative government. And I can tell you right now, in some ways, we don't feel very represented right now. November 11th is Veterans Day. Freedom isn't free, and we have to consider that we have to constantly be involved in our government and recommend our items that we see that we need to hold accountable. Oops, it's not, am I not going? Oh, okay. There we go. Each week, those of us who are paying attention look at the commissioners' meeting agendas. The commissioners have started putting a lot of things on the consent agenda, and we're asking that you reconsider that because these items are large dollar amounts that require discussion. Anything on the consent agenda in these large numbers, today I think it was 8 pages, deserve some discussion among our commissioners and in front of the public so that we know what to expect and what is going on. This includes the grants with strings attached, which are on today's consent agenda. And we've written and spoken out about this to no avail, we feel. So we'd like you to please consider keeping large items on the regular agenda. We're about to go through the update to the 2040 Comprehensive Plan, and this determines the zoning for our communities going forward. We see an alarming trend with this current decisions of our board. It seems like our board is promoting President Biden's war on the suburbs. Many articles have been written about this. It's been documented. This particular one is the mayor of a New Jersey town who has stated that he personally has fought to protect land that the state has demanded to be converted into state-subsidized apartment buildings in the name of so-called affordable housing. We need to be aware that the citizens of Cobb County live in Cobb County because we like our suburban residential neighborhoods and the variety of housing that's offered, and we don't want to turn into some of the surrounding towns and counties that have extremely dense development. Right now, our current administration in Washington wants to use a big pot of federal grant money as bait. If a county or municipality agrees to weaken or eliminate its single-family zoning, it gets the federal funding. And he has put in place an aggressive, affirmatively furthering fair housing campaign with stiff penalties. So we urge all of you to please take a close look at contracts and the commitments involved. Localities can lose local control. New Jersey has some examples, and Westchester County, New York is an example of this. There is concerning language in some of our contracts. I just got some of them yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to look at all of them, but do not commit federal takeover of our community. Keep local control in our current suburban character, please. Recently, the board approved dense developments being placed in low-density, single-family neighborhoods. The lawyers representing these developments, we know, have given large campaign contributions to some of our commissioners in the past. We just wonder if that influences some of these decisions. We hope not. We hope that the process in place to declare, to recuse yourself if there's a conflict of interest is there. We hope we can count on that. You can see that large impervious surface areas cause flooding. We've experienced that in September, and we don't want that trend to continue. We're asking you to preserve our low-density, single-family residential character. Listen to the taxpayers of Cobb County, not outside interests. Thank you.
The next public speaker is Hill Wright.
Hill Wright. This past week was a glorious week celebrating Everything Braves. There are lots of pats on the back for Everything Braves. Yet on the morning of September 8th, and every morning since then, we see nothing worthy of a pat on the back for helping the people hurt from the stormwater issues. How great would it have been if all those pats on the back were for finding a way to help Cobb County constituents left devastated by the stormwater, but by county government that's broke and lacks compassion. There are no pats on the back for helping these folks. For those who have been devastated by the first by a storm and then by county government that ignores their plight and ignores its responsibility, last week seemed very different. To them, it feels like Commissioner Burrell, Commissioner Cheryl Cupid, and Commissioner Richardson were like paramedics that are assigned to be on call for a certain area. You were supposed to be on call for the injured, but last week, hundreds of injured felt like they saw you driving past without stopping on the way to the Brave Stadium because something more interesting at the stadium was going on. In fairness, Commissioner Richardson did stop to tend to injured, and it was very much appreciated, but she didn't have any bandages to stop the bleeding because she didn't have any help getting bandages. The county is going back to plats that were made before stormwater improvements were designed and installed by developers. The claim that homeowners put in infrastructure that cost as much as their house did, give me a break. 48-inch pipes installed all over the county by homeowners to drain commercial and county parks. There wasn't that good a dope back in the 60s. The county is hiding behind its own lack of records prior to 1985. The plats that do show proposed improvements don't match the actual installation. So what does the county do? They gloss over this hoping nobody will notice. After all, they are the professionals. But the community has professionals too. We are doing the homework the county isn't doing. We've got an army to track things down, and armies growing every week. There has been a study of the Cobb Basin impacted by the storm by Georgia State University. It shows that over the past 30 years, runoff has increased largely due to development. Yet Cobb's story is that runoff from development is mitigated. No homeowner should trust Cobb to put a stormwater easement on their property because no homeowner who has a stormwater easement can trust Cobb. They will just keep dumping more and more on you. Another reason homeowners should not trust Cobb is that Cobb doesn't own up to its mistakes. A design says not to build a dam and an easement, yet a builder builds a dam and easement, and Cobb inspects the easement and approves the dam. Then when it floods, they say, hey, our stormwater system was in perfect working order, not our problem. Which begs the question, when the county does something this ludicrous, what's the appeal process? Who does the homeowner go to? Who holds these supposed professional opinions to account? In fact, there's a lot of questions that citizens need answered and a lot of stories that the leaders of Cobb need to hear. But Commissioner Burrell and Chairwoman Cupid will have the perfect opportunity when they attend the town hall that Commissioner Richardson has so graciously agreed to host in the near future. The people look forward to being face-to-face with their leaders to tell their stories and ask their questions. Now, the county is asking people, what should we spend the $147 million grant Cobb is about to receive? I have a simple answer. Build back better. Build back better the things that failed Cobb residents on September 7th. Build back better the things we must have, not just the things that are won't. Build back better the broken promises of September 7th. Build back better bridges that were built too low and have repeatedly flooded homes. Build back better for the people of Cobb, not the donors of Cobb. Build back better stormwater. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mary Jane Zabommer.
Okay. I'm ready. I'm ready? Okay. Hello, my name is Mary Jane Berman, and I'm a constituent of District 3. I purchased a home in a built-to-code subdivision in 1972. Less than 50 years later, I have found that built-to-code is not a promise, it's a threat. I first contacted Cobb County Stormwater and DOT nearly 2 years ago regarding the high amounts of water my property was taking on as a result of a new subdivision, the estates at Davis Ridge. My repeated pleas for help have been passed around the county government like hot potatoes, leaving me with my neighbors in harm's way. So I'm forced to stand before you today begging for help from the commission. Earlier this year, I met with Cobb County Stormwater to discuss the existing stormwater flooding and also to discuss a new easement request from developer Dale Bircher, who wants to build a new subdivision on the land across the street from my home, gifting me with a large retention pond which would direct even more stormwater onto my property. My meeting with stormwater engineer Carl Carver left me shocked and disgusted. Is it going to come up?
To replace the pipe, because the existing pipe is a metal pipe, and it's rusted out. And that's probably good because you don't want to road collapse.
I say no, then what happens?
What they would do is say, okay, I'm not going to replace the pipe, therefore I don't need your easement. And then they can do what they want, what they've got.
That was a recording of Carl Carver, who told me and my two daughters in my driveway that the drain that is running under Davis Road and the water exits onto my property, the drain was old and rusted out and it was going to cave in and Davis Road would go with it. He told me that He told me that if I said no to the easement request, that the road would cave in. And he said if I didn't sign, Cobb County wouldn't even require the developer to replace the badly rusted drain that runs under Davis Road across my property. He also said that, okay, I've messed up a little bit. So when did Cobb County government become organized crime extortionists? Cobb County, Ronnie Raines, and Bircher Homes do not have the right to destroy my home by dumping water from 19 homes onto my property. I can't afford to end up like the residents of District 2. Why is Cobb County helping a developer profit on the backs of citizens, putting the community at risk to do the bidding of the developer? You expect me to sign an easement becoming solely responsible for the water from a total of 19 homes, and then possibly pay $300,000 to $1 million for repairs as a result of the flooding and the sinkholes that may appear when I never wanted the easement. It came with my property. who are you working for? Because you're not working for the homeowners of District 3. What happens when I get hit with a 500-year flood and it storms through the drains and just like the District 2? Who will be responsible to pay for the repairs? Ronnie Raines, who handsomely profited from the land sale, developer Dale Bircher, who will be gone after he sells his $9 million worth of homes, or Cobb County, the government that steals my land and then gives it away for a tiny tax profit, Deborah Dance, the planning commissioner who is literally selling District 3 off one storm drain at a time, or the county commissioners that sit by and do nothing to help its constituents. According to Cobb County, it is the individual owner. How am I supposed to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for stormwater damage and repairs on a Social Security income? In closing, I believe Cobb County needs to change its motto to Cobb County government, expect the best, get the worst, and foot the bill. Thank you.
The next speaker is Dave Mcfarland.
My name is Dave Mcfarland. As the designated officer of the Georgia Region Commission, we want to thank the Cobb County Commissioners for your time and public service. However, your positions are no longer required. Per Article 5, Section 3 of the Community Development Block Grant that you signed, and per the Department of Housing and Urban Development regulations, a compliance review was conducted and found that Cobb County has not met the affirmative further fair housing obligations. Therefore, per the stipulations of the CDBG grant, zoning decisions will henceforth be conducted and administered solely by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. Please surrender all records and accounts to the DCA office and HUD Atlanta by January 15th. Thank you. I'm kidding. I'm not really an officer there. I'm just a resident trying to make a point. What's the point? If you take that money, you will lose Cobb County control. We don't want you to lose control. We want you to protect Cobb County from the people that Mrs. Mao in the last session called thugs. You might look at me and say, okay, this guy is some guy who goes off on conspiracy theories, Agenda 21 or sinister global conspiracy or sees a communist behind every bush and tree, and you'd be right. Maybe I am. But there's another issue, and that's what I'm trying to make. Even if that stuff is bogus and paranoia, there's another issue, and that's federal overreach. It's centralized control. It's central action. It's incompetence at the federal level. And it can be a tyranny just as much as if it was Soros-generated or just some guy who's trying to do his job. And what will happen? It takes away your authority, your ability to do the things that you do so well. Last time I was here, we had the guys from Omnicut and the Eastern Star Order. All those people are and Habitat for Humanity. That's where things get done. That's what the beauty of Cobb County. And it ain't the feds. So what's the solution? How do we protect ourselves against that? It's easy. It's simple. Don't take the money. Don't take the money. Please don't take the money. It's a trap. It's cocaine. And I'm conflating there, yes. But I'm telling you, it's the same principle. Don't take the money. At the very least, can you do this? Can you take items 35 and 36 out, where they're hidden in the consent agenda, and put it into the general agenda? Would that work? So it can see the light of day where we can talk about it, we can vote on that? Don't take the money. How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered, as I said last time, as freedom fighters or as tools of the Marxists? Is it Marxism? Isn't this socialism? It's not socialism. It's Marxism, and it's scary. She's given you examples, and it's there. And if I'm not crazy, that's where it's driven. Maybe I'm not crazy, but there's still the federal overreach and that danger and that tyranny. Don't take the money. Thank you.
The next speaker is Monica Delancey.
Good morning. First, I would like to, Monica Delancey, Riverside Community. First, I would like to recognize that November is National Parent Engagement Month, and also National Family Engagement Month. And some of the activities that we have planned for the Riverside community, last weekend we hosted a Thrive Parent Engagement Workshop where parents called in and the community stakeholders called in, and we were able to share resources about planning for life after high school. In addition, next Tuesday, at Kingsley Village Apartments, the Little Free Library will receive a grand opening that's been recently installed at Kingsley Village Apartments. So on the screen here, we're talking about schools. Just like I mentioned last meeting, the high school graduation rates were released for Cobb County. Okay? In 2013, Georgia removed the Georgia high school graduation test, so it wasn't required anymore for students to pass the test in order to graduate. So basically, every student is on the same playing field, as we're talking about baseball fields, right? Same playing field as it pertains to graduating from high school. You go to school, you pass all your core courses, you graduate in 4 years. So the graduation rates we have here for Cobb County, the schools with the lowest graduation rates, we have Pebblebrook, South Cobb, Osborne High School. Those communities are predominantly heavily occupied from apartment complexes. In addition, more than 40% of the children receive free reduced lunch, and also Pebblebrook, Osborne, South Cobb area have the highest students that are ESOL. And then you look at the schools with the highest performing graduation rates. You have Walton, right, at 96. You have Pope at 97. You have Harrison at 97. All those schools are located in the north side of Cobb County. They have less than 10% of the areas that are rentals. They don't even have that many apartment complexes in those areas either. So when you look at that and you say, "Why I'm talking about that here at the Cobb County Board of Commissioners meeting," because we're talking about that the areas that are high transient, where we can't keep families in their homes, is the Pebblebrook, Osborne, South Cobb area. So you talk about home, we're talking about how the Braves brought that World Series trophy home, right? So let's talk about that same energy that Mr. Plant talked about, putting the right team together, all right? Having everybody on the same page. Matter of fact, that same energy should be put in place to do an emergency moratorium for no eviction to take place for the rest of this year due to the fact that the Braves won. It hurt me last week as we were planning for celebrations that people were calling about not having their leases renewed and they got to go to court. People were calling me talking about they're sleeping in their cars with their 5 children. Another person called and said that she put in $400 worth of applications and keep getting denied for housing. So we need to have that same energy to be intentional, because last week also Cobb County Magistrate Court was preparing eviction notices to be put on doors, and they got their eviction notice on last week. So yes, as we celebrated Friday, people will not have no home come Christmas time. So we need for Cobb County to be intentional, to take the lead on having a task force be put in place to focus on housing, to make sure that we make the best use of additional funding coming to Cobb County. I need for businesses, I need for developers, I need for elected officials to find a way to get all of our schools to 100% graduation rates. In 2020, we had a clear vision. In 2021, we came together as one. In 2022, it must be our breakthrough. The world is watching Cobb County. So Cobb County, it's on us to be known for more than winning the series. Let's go win on education, let's go win in healthcare, and let's win on housing. Let's go, Cobb County.
Cortina Scott.
Grateful Risings. My name is Quantina Scott. I'm back. I will still be involved in things going on in Cobb County, even though I've relocated to another county. I have loved ones who I still have to make sure that I continue to push for, to make sure that they are getting resources and other things that are available to them out here, as well as operating a nonprofit. I would like to piggyback off of some of the things that Ms. Delancey just shared with you guys regarding the rental assistance that Cobb County has been putting forward here in the county. The application process is still taking too long, and some things need to be put into enforce regarding the assistance as far as the application. We started this process last year with the last administration. It should be moving a whole lot faster. It shouldn't take 6 months once somebody submits an application before they get approved. A person may submit an application and only have 1 month's worth of rental assistance that they're behind. About time their application gets pushed through, they're now almost 6 months behind, as well as almost being evicted, if not being evicted. It needs to speed up, and it's taking too long. We need to look at the courts removing evictions. We need to look at an expungement program to help expunge some of those evictions, because a lot of people, they couldn't, it's not their fault that they got evicted. It's not their fault that they're going through the pandemic and trying to do all that they can do. We need to get some type of expungement process going in the courts. Regarding the funding, the ERA, we got out 68% of the ERA 1 funding. Out of 100%, the government requires at least 65% in order for you guys to maintain the funding. We are now operating under the ERA 2. The states, a lot of states now are allowing residents to be paid directly if a landlord denies the payment, so that the families can be able to move out of a county or move out of the state or to do whatever they need to do. That the funding can come directly to the tenants and not to the landlord if the landlord denies it or if they don't want to participate in the program. Cobb County needs to look into that. It also requires, with the new ERA 2, that for whoever is participating in the programs, that you need to state that tenants can be paid directly. Cobb County has not displayed that information, but you guys are dealing with those fundings. The National Coalition for Low Housing, they also recommended. Gene Sperling, who is the White House advisor for economics, who is overseeing these programs, has also suggested that tenants get paid directly should a landlord deny it or if they don't want to participate. That's good for the tenant and it's good for the landlord. Landlords, the money needs to come out a little bit quicker. The process needs to move a whole lot faster. Some landlords are going through foreclosure because of the payments aren't coming quickly. So it's not just the tenants, it's the landlords as well. I would also like to emphasize that seniors, they also need to be able to participate. The word needs to get out to seniors. We have inflation to the extreme right now. A lot of those people are on a fixed income. they need assistance too. Some of them can't even afford food after they pay their rent or their mortgages at this point. I also would like to emphasize, we need to protect our kids. I'm not happy to know that a predator is lurking in the school and taking advantage of kids while we as parents let our children go to school and who are at school for extended period of time. We need to be vigilant about this, even though we are dealing with the pandemic. We need to be able to see what's going on with staff, with teachers. We need to check in. Mental health is real. We need to get some assistance also with mental health to help people in the community as well. Thank you.
Chairwoman, that concludes the first portion of our public speaking this morning.
Thank you, Bill. Commissioners, we are now moving on to our consent agenda. There was some discussion yesterday with respect to item number 23. This is regarding the library's application for an acceptance of FCC emergency connectivity funds, which will enable them to help communities support remote learning. And there's been an additional sentence added, which is reflected on your pink sheet. Has everybody received this? Okay. So we will have our motion reflect that the consent agenda has been revised. Give me one moment. All right, I move that we approve the consent agenda as revised and authorize execution of the necessary documents by the appropriate county personnel. Is there a second? Is there any discussion?
Chair, I understand some in the audience asked for agenda items number 33, 35, and 36 to be pulled to have an open vote. I would ask that we would consider that, please.
Yes, any commissioner can always request for matters to be pulled off consent, so we can pull off those items, 33, 35, and 36, to be voted on individually after approval of the consent agenda. Are there any other questions or comments regarding consent?
I have one other comment. I would like to have it noted my objection to item number 20.
Okay, and just for the audience's sake, that's regarding grants for buses and bus facilities. Yes, Commissioner Burrow.
Madam Chair, yesterday at agenda work session, I could not support item number 34, the travel and tourism. However, after speaking with finance with Bill Volkman, it is my understanding now that this is money, well, this is a part of our agreement with Cobb Travel and Tourism, and the revenues were down. We're still obligated to pay the minimum amount, and this amount was actually negotiated down from what we would be paying, should be paying them. And as long as the other services that we provide under this agreement are whole, I can now support it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any additional questions or comments regarding consent? Okay, we had a motion and we had a second discussion. We'll call the question, recognizing again that we will pull items 33, 35, and 36 for individual vote, and that Commissioner Gambrill has objected to item 20. So again, we'll call the question. Okay, the consent agenda carries 5-0. We will now move to agenda item number 33 to vote on that individually. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, County Manager. Item 33 is to authorize the acceptance of additional federal funding available to local governments under the American Rescue Plan Act 2021. This This is our Emergency Rental Assistance 2, and is classified as high need. So, we did receive just over $2 million into our bank account for this program. The additional funding that would be available, or the allocation to the county, is $5,004,811.50. But we have received the $2 million to date, and we're seeking the appropriation of those funds.
Thank you, Bill. I'll move that we approve the agenda item as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Commissioner Gambrill?
Bill, can you explain to the audience how these funds will be distributed?
Absolutely. This is basically a continuation of our rental assistance funds that we have to date. We have 5 providers currently working through ERA 1 and ERA 2. This is an additional allocation to our ERA 2. This is specifically for rental assistance. These funds have slightly different requirements, a little bit higher requirements for lower income requirements, but it would be still classified under our ERA 2 program. So this is a continuation of the program. We're just going to look at this because they do have some lower income level requirements that would fit into this category, but it's still classified under the same program.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, so do I.
And then,
yes,
sorry.
you can continue.
Bill, just to follow up, this does not obligate the county to provide future funding out of the general fund for rental assistance, correct?
That is correct. This is, again, just a self-contained grant program that we've used for rental assistance, and it's a continuation. There is no general fund dollars at stake here or any long-term commitments once the grant funds have been depleted.
Bill, can you approximate how much we've already spent in emergency rental assistance?
Yes, I can tell you, so I have that pulled up here real quick. Sorry.
No problem. If not, the total dollar, at least a percentage?
Sure, I can tell you, well, I have both, so
Okay,
either way.
sure, both would
Out of our ERA 1 program, as of the end of October, we've spent $20,742,000. That is roughly just over 90% of the total allocation. So we received just over $22.8 million for ERA 1. So we've spent 90.7% of that out the door as of the end of October. ERA 2, our plan was to deplete all of our requirements for ERA 1 before moving into ERA 2. We have one provider that has already spent almost $900,000 of ERA 2 thus far. And so that is our total spend out of ERA 1. And we have a second provider that is about to submit their first draw request for our ERA 2 program.
Okay.
So I guess, sorry, the all-in answer is to date for rental assistance is $21,639,549.98.
Thank you. And I believe in your presentation, you provided the county was receiving an additional $2 million to $5 million. Can you talk a little bit about that allocation, please?
Yes, absolutely. So this will go as a part of our initial ERA 2 allocation. So we initially under ERA 2 received just over $7.2 million. So we're proposing to add this $2 million to that allocation. In the agenda, we're putting this under the contingency because we have the authority, or the county manager has the authority to allocate it amongst the 5 providers as needed. And that is how we'll proceed with this. So this is, again, just adding to the ERA 2 bucket of dollars that we have available for rental assistance.
Okay, and I'll direct this to the county manager. It's my understanding that Cobb County was one of a few localities in Georgia that received these additional monies because we did perform beyond our other peer counties and peer local governments in distributing ERA funds.
Yes, Madam Chairman. The high need designation is as a result, one, of the need, but two, because we were so successful in getting those funds dispersed into the community a lot faster than some others. If I'm not mistaken, there were only 5 jurisdictions in the entire state
I believe
that met that designation, and Cobb is one.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Richardson.
And I believe we were the largest of our peers.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And I did have a question. I'm not sure, but is there a nonprofit that has expended all of their funds at this point as well? They've been able to distribute all of their allocation?
based on the information we have from one of the 5 organizations, if they disperse all the funds that are in the queue, they would be at 0 right now. So they're in the process of going through the queue, and they would have expended all of their funds. So that is why we are trying to get this agenda approved quickly, so that under the county manager's authority, we can at least allocate that particular one additional funds. On the heels of that one is another nonprofit within the 5 providers that is right there.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Commissioner Gambrill?
Bill, do we know how many people are, because if I recall correctly, essentially you're awarded a grant in a 3-month increment up to a total of 12 months that you can apply for. Do we know how many people are repeat grant recipients compared to new grant recipients?
I do not have those numbers with me, but it's definitely something I can share with you and the board, or the entire board. I will hold those working with Kimberly Roberts at WFN.
Thank you, Bill. Are there any additional questions or comments of the board? All right, there's been a motion, second in discussion. We'll call the question. The motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next agenda item that we will approve from consent is agenda item number 35. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So I wasn't expecting that we were going to have this discussion. Otherwise, I would have had Kimberly Roberts here to actually discuss this one. So bear with me on the questions on this one. I will say that we have been receiving these funds from CDBG through HUD since the 90s. We've not had any issues or any problems with receiving those funds. The funds are audited on a regular basis. We've not had any issues with those, and we've been able to do a lot of great things for the residents of Cobb who are the recipients of these funds. So I'll be happy to take any questions, and those that I cannot answer or Bill cannot answer, we will certainly get those to you from Kimberly Roberts.
Okay. I'll just provide a little bit of background before I make my motion too, which is actually text that's in the agenda item. The application requests for these funds were rated on criteria of thoroughness of the grant application, the organization's prior grant expenditure history, and the organization's staff and financial capacity. Based on the ranking of the applications, the funding recommendations have been distributed to provide social services in the following areas: employment and training services, GED and literacy programs, health services, family and youth development, and housing and shelter for homeless families and individuals, including disabled veterans, which I think is fitting considering that we have been honoring our veterans this month. I would ask the board to please support the motion for this agenda item to, again, I move that we authorize the acceptance and allocation of federal fiscal year 2022 Community Service Block Grant CARES funds provided by the Georgia Department of Human Services. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Gambrill.
So just for clarification, I had a discussion with Kimberly Roberts yesterday, so let me try to help Jackie, and please correct me if I'm wrong. This is a continuation of the CARES funding that came out in 2020 that the state received. If you look at the impact statement that is contained within the agenda item, it specifically states the county is not required to provide a match from the county general fund. Local nonprofit agencies supplement the CSBG CARES funds with other resources and are notified there is no guarantee of future CSBG CARES funding. If this funding is reduced or no longer made available, we would no longer pay for professional services and operating costs. The programs would be terminated and the employment positions eliminated. So the county includes this language to let the residents know that, again, this is not something that will be funded in the future by the board, and this is being funded was specific funding that came from the CARES Act?
That's a direct grantee to CDBG, not the county in and of itself.
Commissioner Richardson.
And it seems the amendment is in updating the nonprofits that are listed within the attachment as a part of this ongoing program.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there additional questions or comments? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0. Next, we will move to agenda item number 36.
Yes, ma'am. Chairwoman, Commissioners, this one is to authorize the submission of the annual 2022 Program Action Plan for HUD. Again, this is one of our typical action plans that we have to do on an annual basis in order to receive those funds. The background is such that Cobb County is required to submit the 2022 Annual Action Plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, known as HUD, in order to receive its annual Community Development Block Allocation or investment grants for such programs like Home and Emergency Solutions Grant, known as ESG, for, again, a lot of the residents here in Cobb County. The funding levels for the plan are based upon the 70% of the actual CDBG, Home, and ESG grant amounts received for the program year of 2021. So I would ask that the board accept these funds as allocated in the agenda item for some of the nonprofits in attachment A, and allow the chairwoman to approve the necessary documents.
Thank you, Commissioner. Make a motion that we support the agenda item as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? And I'll add that for the impact statement for this one, Cobb County receives CDBG funding without a requirement for matching funds. However, the Home and ESG program requirement for matching funds is passed on to the local subrecipient agencies. Cobb County is not required to provide general and fund matching resources for these HUD grants. CDBG, Home, and ESG funding is appropriated annually by Congress with no guarantee of renewal or level funding next year. Pre-awards are made subject to receipt of adequate CDBG and Home funding. If this funding were reduced or no longer made available, Cobb County would no longer pay for professional services and operating costs. The programs would be terminated and the employment positions eliminated. Commissioner Burrow.
Yes, also in the agenda item, the last paragraph is the public notice that's required, and no comments were received, no public comments were received. So that may be something that, the audience that wants to attend the public hearing or email comments to Ms. Roberts if they have issues in the future. I'm not sure they're aware that there is a public notice and comment period.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrow. I know in the past we've had robust discussion about how that is made available to the public, or so that they are aware that they can participate, but we can certainly circle back
We can
up
have a
with Kimberly.
discussion with what the board would like to see. I'll ask Ms. Roberts to come and meet with you individually and talk about some of the things that you are hearing, perhaps from some of your constituents, and how they may prefer to receive information about some of the programs during public comment time.
Yes. Are there any additional questions or comments? Commissioner Gambrill?
Where can we find the 2022 Annual Action Plan, and is that available for the public to review? I know I haven't seen it, and if I can get a copy of it, I would like to. But also, how can we let the public know where they can go to find these action plans so they can review as well?
I will make sure that you have a copy of it.
I know I walked through it with...
it is very robust, too
Kimberly.
robust to print into the agenda, but I will ask Ms. Roberts to give you a copy of it, and then we can also put it on our website so that people can see it. Okay? And we'll make sure that that happens this week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there additional questions or comments? All right, we'll call the question.
The motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Commissioners. We will now move to the regular portion of our agenda, beginning with the Sheriff's Office.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Dr. McMorris. I have 3 items here for your consideration. First, Cobb County Sheriff's Office is asking the Commissioners to authorize the use of a Sourcewell contract for the procurement of 6 prisoner transport vans under this 2016 SPOS program. Our current fleet is several years old with extensive miles. The purchase of these vans will give us the mechanical reliability needed to transport detainees to various locations. It will also help us enhance the security for the detainees, our Cobb County personnel, and also the community at large. This will be a one-time expenditure from the 2016 SPOS, and the cost of maintenance will be absorbed within the department's annual budget. The Cobb County Sheriff's Office, we're recommending that the Board of Commissioners authorize the use of a state contracted pricing under a Sourcewell contract, specifically with Allen J. Fleet Sales, with the procurement of 6 prisoner transport vans for the Cobb County Sheriff's Office in the amount not to exceed $406,434, authorizing the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
All right, so moved as presented. Is there any discussion or questions? Call the question. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay. The second item is to authorize the use of a cooperative contract number with Train U.S. Incorporated for the replacement of HVAC systems in the kitchen and laundry at the Adult Detention Center, Building A84, under the 2016 SPOS program for the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. You know, currently we have an inmate population of 1,500, but at full capacity we're somewhere around 3,600. Our current HVAC system was put in place in 1984, and there were revisions to the interior that occurred in 97 and 2010. And because of the age of the HVAC and the revisions that were done internally, there's currently no heating and cooling in the kitchen area or the laundry area, and as you know, this poses a safety and health issue. The ADC for the kitchen and the laundry is at a total cost of $333,313, and this cost also includes the installation and delivery charges. The Cobb County Sheriff's Office is recommending that the Board of Commissioners authorize the use of state cooperative pricing under co-op contract with Train U.S. Incorporated, with the project name being Cobb Jail Kitchen and Laundry HVAC Upgrade, in an amount not to exceed $333,313, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Thank you. So moved as presented. Any discussion? Call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
And the last item, to authorize the use of a Sourcewell contract for the procurement of services and supplies for the remediation of shower surfaces in the Cobb County Adult Detention Center in 3 locations, Building A84, Building B97, and G-Pod, under the 2016 SPOS program. Putting the new showers in will do a few things. Number one, it's going to increase the durability of the shower. It's also going to decrease the medical risk imposed right now from such things as mold and body fluid retention. And also it's going to give a non-slip surface, which is going to decrease the potential of injury. We're recommending that the Board of Commissioners authorize the use of state contracted pricing under Sourcewell contract for the ADC building, A84 building, B97, and G-Pod shower remediation and resurface in an amount not to exceed $881,050 $53.65. Authorize the corresponding document transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Thank you. Again, so moved as presented.
Second.
And is there any discussion? I'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to our DOT regular tab.
Good morning again, Drew Ressler, DOT.
Good morning.
DOT only has 14 items for consideration this morning.
Only.
Our first item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the revised budget and current schedule for the 2011 Transportation Improvements Program, funded primarily by the 2011 Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions per the 2011 Bloss Transportation Improvement Program budget and schedule attached to the agenda item.
All right, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners ratify previous action by the county manager authorizing emergency drainage repairs on the exchange in response to a sinkhole, approve a contract with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $350,000 for said repairs, project number D2869, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Richardson.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll call the question. The motion carries 5-0. I should have just added for those in the audience, again, this is for emergency drainage repairs, so the county does continue to make investment in this area.
Thank you.
Yes.
Our next item, similarly, is to recommend the Board of Commissioners ratify previous action by the county manager authorizing emergency drainage repairs on Ronnie Drive in response to a sinkhole, approve project number D2870 to the 2021 countywide unit price contract with Chatfield Contracting Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $190,648 for said repairs, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Richardson.
So moved.
Any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the contract with Witch Thompson Enterprises Incorporated, a savings to the project in the amount of $30,880.08 for drainage system repairs on White Circle Court, project number D2832, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
All right, so moved. I'm sorry, Commissioner Burrow, go ahead. This is in District 3.
I think it's 1 and 4, so it's still...
Okay, I have it listed at 3 for 45. So moved. We'll take a, it's okay. We have a lot of DOT items. It's all right. Second, Commissioner. Is there any discussion? We'll call the question. All right, the motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the resurfacing contract 2020-2 Local Roads South with Blunt Construction Company Incorporated, a savings to the project in the amount of $354,259.80 for resurfacing of county-maintained streets, project number X2913. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Gambrell.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 2 final to the contract with Baldwin Paving Company Incorporated, a savings to the project in the amount of $79,686.24 for safety and operational improvements on Beach Road, Westside Drive, project number X2601. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Gambrell.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 2 final to the contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC, a savings to the project in the amount of $29,830.75 for Kenjack Drive sidewalk, project number X2750. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Yes, thank you, Drew. I've gotten a lot of thank yous for this project.
Good project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Another good project. Recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 3 to the contract with Baldwin Paving Incorporated. A savings to the project in the amount of $184,581.36 for intersection improvements on Factory Shoals Road at Riverside Parkway, Project number X2306. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Sheffield.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 3 final to the contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC. Savings to the project in the amount of $31,292.93 for operational improvements on Factory Shoals Road, Harmony Leland and Clay Elementary Schools. Phase 1, project number X2807. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Sheffield.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners authorize advertisement for and conduct of a public hearing prior to expending $100,000 or more for engineering design services for various projects in the 2016 Bloss Transportation Improvements Program, and further authorize the issuance of requests for proposals or task orders to secure required services as shown on the list of upcoming projects.
All right, Commissioner Richardson.
Happy to see these move forward. So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners authorize advertisement for and conduct of a public hearing prior to expending $100,000 or more to secure professional consulting services for continued application development and support of Project View.
All right. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners authorize the sole source procurement of video detection cameras and communication manager equipment at a total cost not to exceed $259,720 from Southern Lighting and Traffic Systems for traffic signals, project number E5041, and further authorize the corresponding budget transactions.
So moved. Any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is related to submission of grant requests to the Atlanta Regional Commission, and that is to recommend the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution authorizing the submission of Transportation Improvement Program grant applications to the Atlanta Regional Commission for the following 9 proposed projects: Old 41 Highway, Mapleton Parkway pedestrian improvements, Powder Springs Trail, Chattahoochee River Trail Pilot Phase 2, Cobb Parkway at McCollum Parkway, Kennesaw Due West Road, Old 41 Highway realignment, Johnson Ferry Road, Roswell Road, SR 120, East-West Connector corridor improvements, Traffic Management Center upgrade, and finally CNG bus replacements. Designate Drew Ressler, Department of Transportation Agency Director, as the authorized representative for all matters associated with this grant application, and further authorize the chairwoman or her designee to execute the necessary documents.
This is a significant agenda item, and as was recognized by Commissioner Burrow, it includes projects in all of our districts. We appreciate staff forwarding these to the ARC for consideration. With that, I'll make a motion that we approve this agenda item as submitted.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Further discussion? All right, we'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. And our final item this morning is to recommend the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution authorizing submission of an FY22 Section 5307 grant request to the Federal Transit Administration under the ARPA American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 in an amount not to exceed $10,390,867 for transit capital projects and operating activities authorize the acceptance of allocated Section 5307 grant program ARPA funding, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman or her designee as previously approved by the board to execute the necessary documents.
All right, so moved. Any discussion? We'll call the question. And the motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Jerome.
Thank you.
All right, our next tab is for support services.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners,
morning.
County Manager, Property Manager's got one item. And it's the Board of Commissioners approve a two-part design-build contract with Batch and Cook Company with the initial phase contracting amount of $723,980 to include only design, project fee, and general condition costs for the new Precinct 6 Police Station in Northeast Cobb, a 2016 Bloss project. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
What commission district is this in? I'm sorry, Commissioner Burrow?
Very funny. Yes, this has been a long time coming, and I thank you for your diligence, Scott, and my pestering you to get this done. The groundbreaking will be December 1st at 11 a.m. And with that, I make a motion to approve agenda item number 56.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0. Congratulations, Commissioner Burrow. Getting it done.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. All right, next up, we have public safety, and our first item is for 911 emergency communications.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners. Dr. McMorris. 911 has one item, and the purpose of this item is to authorize the purchase and installation of replacement portable and mobile radios with all required accessories and services with Motorola Solutions Incorporated using funds from the 2022 SPOS program, Radio Equipment Replacement Program B104. So a little bit of background is on December 8th, 2015, the Board of Commissioners approved the purchase of mobile radios and accessories with 2016 SPOS funds. The 800 megahertz unit under the Department of Emergency Communications manages the radio equipment needs of the public safety and public services agencies of Cobb County, and it has been determined that 3,199 radios are aging and near the end of life cycle. On November 3rd, 2020, the voters approved the 2022 Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, which provides for capital improvements, and the radio replacement is an eligible item under the 2022 SPOS Tier 1 4.4 radio equipment replacement in the amount of $16 million. A savings of $1,797,734 in 2022 SPOS program funds will be realized with the provisions that the agreement is signed no later than December 31st, 2021, with the first payment due no later than October 29th, 2022, in the amount of $662,670.33, and two subsequent payments, October 29, 2023, and 2024. There is no expected increase in annual maintenance costs, as this is for the replacement of equipment. The Department of Emergency Communications, E911, is recommending that the Board of Commissioners authorize the purchase of replacement portable and mobile radios with all the required accessories and services in the amount not to exceed $14,202,266 with Motorola Solutions Incorporated using funds from the 2022 SPOS program, Radio Equipment Replacement, Program B104, approved the purchase under the provisions of the Georgia Department of Administrative Services Contract 99999S-SPD 1201-806-06-001 with Motorola Solutions, Inc., authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
All right, so moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Commissioner Burrow?
Yes, since this is on the 2022 SPOS, we approve it now, but when will the first payment be due?
The first payment will be October 29th, 2022.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? We'll call the question. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Excuse me. All right, I believe we have public comment.
Yes, Chairwoman, there's 4 additional speakers who have signed up for the concluding portion of public comment for today's meeting. The first speaker is Cynthia Johnson.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you guys again. I'm here with the Housing Justice League representative standing beside me. I'm here to talk.
Okay, just say your name again.
Oh, my apologies. My name is Cynthia Johnson. I'm here to talk with you, not at you, because I'm here to support you in any way that I can, and I hope that we receive the same respect back. I just want to bring a few things to your attention since we're out in the field daily working on the behalf of our people. Prior to the pandemic, we already had a housing crisis in our country. The health of residents in the community they live in are essential to us all. Putting people out of their homes during the pandemic puts people at risk. The economic costs to property owners are very real. In particular, what it means, the ability to collect rent, manage properties, and pay their mortgages. The rental assistance helps to resolve both of these challenges. On September 27, 2020, $25 billion was provided through ERA 1. CARES Act on March 11, 2021, $21.55 billion was provided to ERA for rental assistance and $5 billion for homelessness through HUD's Homes program. These funds are available until 2025. Although there are some success stories, and we appreciate you guys, there are also some issues that I would like to bring to you. For instance, untimely applications, evictions after funds are paid to owners, direct payments when owners refuse payment, and inconsistent funds available to the families. We must find ways to process the application in a timely manner so that landlords are paid and able to maintain their property and pay their mortgages, and families can remain in their homes. I've met many families that have been waiting 4 or 5 months to have their application processed, and they're still waiting. In fact, I've met several of them at the courthouse last Friday while many were at the Braves parade. Shout out to the Braves. I was very surprised that none of the rental agencies were there. Hats off to Sarah for going over and beyond to try to help. However, she needs help. The county must use some of the funds to employ people to help. Many of us are out doing the work anyway. NACA's used COVID funds to hire economic justice advocates. Their employees work directly with the tenants, landlords, rental assistants to ensure that the resources are paid. The Treasury Department and HUD guidelines states that families' application with 50% or unemployed for 90 days or more should be prioritized. Families that has been given an eviction notice should be processed immediately or within 30 days. A way to help resolve this matter would be to streamline the process. We talk greatly about what we do in our community, and that is great. However, there's a ERA grantee that is from New Mexico, has some success that I read on HUD and Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance webinar. The way they helped is they streamlined the process. This will minimize staff hours to process applications, allow landlords to collect self-certification forms from tenants, put the information in a spreadsheet, and submit a flat file through a portal. The landlord would validate the pass-through rent. They will also provide their W-9 so that electronic payments can be made in a timely manner. The county must ensure that their agreement with landlords protects tenants from being evicted after payments are made. They should be required to make sure that they do not evict within 30, 60, or 90 days, and also that the courts are taking evictions also will not hinder them from getting a home. The county must also use direct payments to tenants. The forms I provided you shows from the Macon DCA says that they normally only provide all the counties except the 12 areas, which one of ours, but now they provide funding to all of the areas, the statewide, and they actually say the Treasury Department both provides a rent tenant to landlord to provide information to receive funding, Walker said, and landlords are the ones who are supposed to receive the funding directly. However, the program is voluntarily. If a landlord chooses not to participate, the DCA is allowed to send the money directly to the tenant in order to pay the rent. I know sometimes you may have hesitant about that because you're afraid what other people, some people do. There are bad apples in every situation, but there's millions of people who will do the right thing and pay the landlord if they're paid directly. But the only thing I don't like about that too is because there should be a stipulation where they're still
Ms.
protected.
Johnson, I'm sorry, your time is up.
And I have provided you the information.
The next public speaker is Pamela Reardon.
Good morning, or maybe it's afternoon. As a Cobb, I'm Pamela Reardon. As a Cobb citizen, I'm increasingly concerned with the runaway spending in Cobb County, which is being rubber stamped by this board. Just because staff comes to you with grand requests for more hiring and more facility expenses, you do not have to grant them. We do not need to compare ourselves to Gwinnett County and say because they have 23 in a department handling regular everyday functions, we only have X number, so we need to increase ours by 7 people. Yes, I do watch your work sessions. We don't have to do that. Maybe we can strive to be more efficient. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. When you keep hiring, you now have the ongoing expense of benefits and pensions. We already cannot keep up with the pension fund. I know that you will soon need to come to us for a millage increase. I can see this happening already to cover all the new spending because you've gotten so much free money over this past year, you've gotten used to it. Well, the citizens of this county have about 50% increase in something called inflation. And no, it's not temporary. It's here for a long bit. And prices are still going up. So especially people on fixed incomes are not going to have to be able to put in more money into the tax digest. This past year, it was a huge digest, and you, on the words of equitable, which is a word that's been become a destroyer in our country nowadays, you elected not to reduce the taxes that we had to spend. So that's good. We gave you that bunch of money then, so we're not going to give you a bunch of money next year, so we do not want the millage rate to increase. We would like this county to be run more efficiently. We would like you to go through the budgets just like the state does and have a balanced budget and not have an open-end spending. And I'd like to thank you for taking those items out of the consent agreement and explaining them further and asking that the link be put up on the website. I would go further and ask that we can look at the contracts. There needs to be more transparency in this government. You are currently paying a consultant $80,000 to $100,000 to do a 2040 plan, which is a waste. There is nothing wrong with our current zoning, which is just updated last year. The commissioners and zoning department just must abide by the current zoning laws, unlike the last 4 cases that were heavily objected to by the communities. We do not want UDC/UDO zoning. We do not want to lose our single-family neighborhoods. We do not want all this social justice mumble jumble. We just want to live free and happy lives. as citizens in Cobb County. We do not want more taxes. We do not want a transportation or mobility tax ever. We do not want heavy rail from Buckhead or anywhere in the ATL to Cobb. This is the most ridiculous, given the prohibitive cost of $10,000 per inch of building heavy transit. This is just MARTA wanting money from Cobb County citizens because their system loses money every day. Say no to this, and if you manage your funds better, we could get our roads fixed and rearrange the failing bus routes to put the routes where they are actually needed. And no, we do not need to pay more consultants to tell us where we can put the bus routes. We can figure that out ourselves. Just get out of this office and go ride a few buses, and you'll know which ones are used and where we need them. You control the purse strings. Look at the areas that are wasting more money, like the upcoming runoff election, where only 800 people voted in that particular ward in the advanced voting. And now we're going to do 2 weeks of advanced votings, thank goodness not 3. There is so much waste around, and increasing millage is not going to fix the waste. Fix that first, and then maybe we'll come back and look at that. By the way, we're not in a pandemic, and wearing useless masks in governments just doesn't work. Thank you very much.
The next public speaker is Tamika Strecker.
Bill, may you?
Yeah, Tamika Strecker.
Okay. I don't perceive she's here.
Then the next public speaker is Debbie Fisher.
Good morning, Commissioners, Madam Chair. I would first like to thank you for removing those 3 items from consent. That's rarely done upon request, but those were 3 important items. And for people who may or may not know what consent is, it's a conglomeration of what is supposed to be basically minimal spending that you vote with 1 vote to approve or deny. In your agenda work session yesterday, there were 2, as mentioned today, items on consent that had rather robust conversation. The thing to note there is those could have been removed yesterday. I appreciate Commissioner Burrell clarifying that she was okay with it, but you know what? The public doesn't know what that was about. They should have had the privilege of hearing what you all said yesterday and how you felt about it, Joanne, because you did make some very great observations. There was 1 item on consent that unfortunately I did not get you an email and ask you to remove, but I am passionate about it. And there's 2 of you on the board who might remember back in 2015 when I pleaded with Chairman Lee to rectify the problem of over-collection on our streetlight district. I was shocked to see we have $4 million plus in reserve for the streetlight district. That means you're still charging us too much. That fee that Tim Lee increased was supposed to be rolled back. Commissioner Ott took that on in 2019, I believe, and said they would roll it back if they continued to over-collect. You obviously have continued to over-collect for quite some time, and a 6-month holiday isn't going to cut it. You have $4 million. What's your total expense in the streetlight district? You should never have that much money in reserve on a dedicated fee, and I am asking you to revisit that entire conversation, and that type of item should never be on consent. That should be a public discussion so people know where their money's going. And with that, I'm going to close. I can't let the Braves go by. I do thank all of Cobb County. You put on one heck of a celebration, and I do thank the Braves for bringing home a victory. But there's one group that wasn't thanked, and so I just want to draw attention to that, and it's the tax-paying citizens of Cobb County who pay for that stadium. Thank you.
The next speaker is Monica Johnson.
Hello. I apologize for any any problems with coming up with the other speaker. But as was said, my name is Monica Johnson. I am a worker with the Housing Justice League in Atlanta, and there are many problems that we seek to rectify that have been spoken to earlier in this meeting. It is good that Cobb County has come ahead of many counties when it comes to the disbursement of ERA funds, but as people have mentioned, across this county and other counties, we have seen processes take months and months to get funds out to tenants, which I think is unacceptable. On the question of rental assistance, we must take measures to outreach to underserved communities to make sure that all those who are being faced with eviction, whether illegal or legal, because there is a problem in Atlanta, the metro area writ large, of illegal evictions, self-help evictions, of people being locked out or having their gas, water turned off in order to kick them out. So I think that there's a responsibility on the part of the Cobb County Commissioners, of each and every one of us who aim to serve our communities, to spend time, resources, and specific efforts to root out the problem of illegal evictions, of setting up people to fail when it comes to rising rents, when it comes to lack of services for certain communities. The Housing Justice League is finalizing its Tenant Bill of Rights, which I will be here to present to the board. I think that this is a moment, knowing that Cobb and other parts of Metro Atlanta are growing and have continued to grow, that we cannot pretend that we are stuck in the past. We cannot continue with the same processes when it comes to the housing question as we have in the past. Single-family housing and zoning, limiting our possibilities to that, will leave us in a negative, in a not substantial, acceptable position when it comes to rectifying the issues of housing in the city. So I want us to emphasize that we need to be open to new and more equitable measures to be able to rectify this issue of housing, to make sure that there is not only room for development and profits, and there is room for the communities that make Cobb County work to live in Cobb County and not be dispossessed and put into negative situations due to the lack of action on the part of the commissioners. The commissioners have the power to make the difference, to pass legislation that will protect the rights of tenants, protect the rights of those living in this county, in this area, and these factors do not just affect tenants. Many people came up to talk about their floodwater, their problems on that front, and there needs to be stronger protections for the people rather than the powerful in Cobb County, and I hope that we can continue talking about how to further the disbursement of emergency funds and make sure that those who need them receive them, and also that housing conditions, slum conditions that exist in different private and somewhat supplemented HUD housing are rectified, and that there's accountability for those who threaten the housing of Cobb County citizens. Thank you.
Chairwoman, that concludes our speakers this morning.
Thank you. We will now move on to appointments. The first appointment is for Commissioner Gambrill.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment of Michael Edwards to the Recreation Board.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion passes. With 4, we need one more commissioner. Yes, the motion passes 5-0. Thank you. And the next appointment is to approve the reappointment of Cheryl Stevenson to the Civil Service Board, and I'll present that in the form of a motion. All right. Any discussion? I'll call the question. The motion carries 5-0. And we will conclude with Commissioner's public address. Yes, Commissioner Gambrill, please.
Thank you. And a big thank you to our DOT Director, Drew Ressler, and his staff for our town hall that was held last Thursday discussing the MSPLOST. There are 3 additional dates that residents can attend to learn more about the MSPLOST. And for those of you who are not able to attend but would like to provide feedback or learn more about the MSPLOST and the programs, you can find this information at cobbmsplost.org. You can start the spirit of the season early this year by becoming a Cobb County Senior Santa. There's 2 ways you can do this. One, you can adopt a senior. The program will provide you with a wish list, and you can purchase the items from their list for them. Or you can go and purchase gift cards from Kroger's, Publix, Walmart, or Target, or donating funds online, and these funds will then be provided to the seniors. You can then bring your donated gifts to the Cobb Senior Services at 1150 Powder Springs Street, Marietta. The deadline for drop-off of these items is November 19th. For more information and to get a list of our current seniors that are looking to be adopted, you can call Andrea Rapowitz at 770-528-1445. And to bring home the magic of the holiday season, you can also visit our Cobb County Extension Office for our Cobb County 4-H Hallmark Keepsakes Ornament Sale. All ornaments are like new condition and include some limited edition ornaments. Most of these ornaments are from 1999 to 2015. You can visit our Cobb County Extension Office at 678 South Cobb Drive, Suite 200 in Marietta, Georgia. They are open Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And lastly, we would like to salute and thank our veterans. Thank you for all your courage, dedication, and hard work, and thanks to the military families for their support, resilience, and sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Richardson.
All right, hello. Want to just say thank you to Team Cobb. Cobb teams worked tirelessly throughout the World Series to ensure visitors had a fun and safe experience. Teams from Cobb Police, Fire and Emergency Services, DOT, GIS, Communications, Sheriff's Office, E911 and Communications were among those working to make the home World Series games and parade a success. Thank you for all the hard work, and certainly appreciate the shout out from the taxpayers and their significant role in participating in the festivities and allowing us to be stewards of those resources to make sure that these things could happen. So, excellent, and go Braves. November is Native American Heritage Month. Happy we're celebrating it as a county. During this month, we honor and celebrate the cultures, traditions, and histories of our Native American communities. It is also a time to raise awareness about the struggles tribes have faced in the past and continue to face today. The original native tribes found in Georgia include the Appalachians, Cherokees, Hitchites, Oconees, Miccosukes, Muskogee Creeks, Timucuas, Yamasees, and Gwalies. Present-day Cobb County is home to the Creek, and certainly I've got my own Native American heritage as well, so do many of my other colleagues and peers. To learn more about the Native American Heritage Month and Native history, check out nativeamericanheritagemonth.gov. From the office, join us on November 30th at 6 p.m. for our Bloss Town Hall at Fuller's Park Recreation Center. This town hall will provide information on the mobility splost for next year. We'll discuss the possible referendum, data from the 2021 Comprehensive Transportation Plan, and public involvement opportunities to give input on these options. We look forward to seeing you there, so please dress warmly. November's Act of Kindness. So we're kicking off our November Act of Kindness in conjunction with the nonprofit Good Muse. We are collecting dog and cat food now through November 15th for families in need. Donation boxes can be found at all 5 Cobb Police Precincts and Good Muse Animal Foundation, 3805 Robinson Road. If you or someone you know is in need of pet food assistance, donations will be given out on November 20th at Cobb's Animal Services Building, 1060 Al Bishop Drive in Marietta, from 9 a.m. through noon. Community updates. Zion Keepers Veterans Day Parade, Veterans Day Barbecue. Zion Keepers and Our Heroes Homes are hosting a Veterans Day Barbecue for the community, noon through 3 p.m., November 10th, at the Episcopal Church of the Incarnation. They will be providing hygiene bags and gifts to homeless veterans. They are also asking for the following donation items to help them serve our veterans: toothbrushes, toothpaste, soap, face or washcloths, shampoo, lotion, deodorant, bottled water. The church is located at 2407 Cascade Road, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. Harlem Globetrotter. So my cabinet member, Reverend Stephen Mintz, and Cobb Police Athletic League are hosting Harlem Globetrotter legend Michael Douglas on December 14th from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Cobb County Civic Center. Registration is required for the event and seating is limited. The first 50 to register will receive a special gift. To register, please follow the link on the screen, which is this bit.ly link, https://bit.ly/3DDZXB7 in order to visit, that's on the screen, or visit Cobb's website. And that is the PAL program, if you're not familiar with the full expression of the acronym. And that concludes all of my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Burrow?
Thank you. We're still celebrating a World Series, and I have a collage of pictures from day one to now that I'd like to share. And I think everyone knows by now that the Braves won the World Series this year. Everything has been so exciting, and a big thank you to all of our staff, public safety personnel, DOT, and all the support from IS and communications and all of our departments that help with the parade and ceremony and celebrations on Friday. So, go back a slide. Cobb, home of the Braves. That started everything with the announcement, the town halls, and then the vote. So we've come a long way. The next slide shows the groundbreaking, the laying of the bricks. And if I may point out, the picture with me and Freddie Freeman and the picture with me and the Honorable Hank Aaron, I'm wearing pearls. So that, I've been wearing pearls long before Jock, but that's okay. And they're real. But these are memories that that we will cherish for a long time. But I also want to thank the Braves for their partnerships from the beginning with the Cobb Libraries, the Chipper Jones Fields at 3 parks, Cobb County Parks, and also their contributions to the Boys and Girls Club, the food assistance during COVID, and many other donations, the Cobb Veterans Memorial Foundation being the most recent. So you can go to the next slide. This is one of the Chipper Jones Fields at Harrison Park in District 3. And then the picture to the right is the $50,000 donation from the Braves Foundation to the Cobb Veterans Memorial Foundation. We're very grateful for all their assistance. And these are some pictures from Friday celebrating a World Series, and we were honored to meet Mrs. Hank Aaron, Billy Aaron, just a very classy, sweet lady. So his memory lives on. Okay, I think that's enough. Last Saturday at Jim Miller Park, I was honored to present a ceremony honoring women veterans. As we approach Veterans Day, you know, we can never thank our veterans, and this year with the Georgia Department of Veterans Affairs and the other organizations for veterans, we put on a ceremony with speakers from World War II, Vietnam, Korean War, and Afghanistan. So it was a great event. I appreciate the staff's help in putting this together, the committee to putting this together, my assistant Kim, who did all the work because I was not available as much as I should have been. But it was a great event, and it was a great turnout, and I just appreciate all the support for our veterans, and especially our women veterans. So thank you. Tonight, from 6 to 8, I will have the District 3 Town Hall for the Bloss, and it is at Schweitzer Library in the big meeting room there. So I hope you can attend and come out and join us. I know Drew's ready to present. Truckapalooza is this Saturday from 9 to 2 p.m. at Town Center Mall. It's a great event especially for kids to be able to sit on a police motorcycle, touch a fire truck. You can see all the pictures, and we thank our sponsors and supporters that make this possible. We have reached the 200 mark adoptions with Superior Pets for Patriotic Vets. Mr. Holland and his wife here adopted this beautiful cat, and he served for 7 years in the U.S. Coast Guard. So we thank him for participating in this program and taking home a new kitty. Number 200, y'all. Okay, next slide. Thank you. Please join us on Tuesday, November 30th at 1 p.m. at Gritter's Library for the groundbreaking of the new and improved Gritters. It is a 2016 SPLOST-funded project, and we're really excited with the SPLOST program funding, but also the $1.9 million that came from the State Library Foundation to help us. So please come out and join us. There will be renderings so you can see what it's going to look like, and we will be breaking ground at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, November 30th. And then Wednesday, December 1st at 11 a.m., we will be breaking ground on the new Police Precinct 6, which will be located behind the Aquatic Center off Gordy Parkway in Sandy Plains. So please join us. This is also a 2016 SPLOS project, and we're very excited about this new precinct in District 3. And please remember all those that have served on Veterans Day, November 11th, on Thursday. I know the Marietta City Parade and Kiwanis are hosting parade and ceremony on the square in Glover Park. So please come out and join us. And thank you to all of our veterans.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrow. Commissioner Sheffield?
Thank you, Madam Chair. District 4 news and updates. Please join me on Wednesday, November 10th at 6:30 for our town hall meeting. We will be joined by two departments. DOT will present the upcoming Mobility SPLOS initiative and solicit community feedback in advance of next year's referendum. I strongly encourage that this segment of the town hall is well attended to meet and ask your questions with DOT regarding our mobility options. The second part of the town hall meeting, we will be joined by Deputy Police Chief Van Hooser, who will introduce new technology that the organization or that the police department is currently utilizing to help solve and prevent crime. Learn about the latest technology and safety measures that help to keep us safe. I received a sneak peek into the technology and it will not disappoint. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 6:30 at the Public Safety Training Center in Austell. Refreshments will be served. Thank you does not seem like a strong enough sentiment to express the gratitude that I have for the men and women who sacrifice their time, families, and the ultimate sacrifice of their lives to protect us all in our freedom. We are forever grateful for your service. A special thanks to the women veterans who were honored at Jim Miller Park this past Saturday who shared their stories of serving. There will be numerous celebrations throughout the county, and I encourage you to participate this weekend. Happy Veterans Day. Keep Cobb Beautiful is hosting a recycling event this coming Saturday, November 13th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Jim Miller Park, located at 2245 Callaway Road in Marietta. They are accepting items for recycling, including electronics, metals, textiles, and household goods. The Hefty Energy Bag Orange program is also accepted, and there will be on-site paper shredding as well. Visit cobbcounty.org, Keep Cobb Beautiful, to learn more about this event and for a complete list of accepted and non-acceptable recycling items. Our monthly In the Zone meeting will be held a week earlier this month on November 17th, which is next week, Wednesday. District 4 Planning Commissioner Michael Hughes and I will discuss December's upcoming zoning cases. Our In the Zone monthly community meetings are a great way to learn firsthand about zoning applications and the potential development in your community. And oftentimes, we will have the applicant and the applicant's attorney or representative to join us on the call to answer any questions or concerns that may arise from the community. Please email deidre.watts@cobbcounty.org for the meeting link. Hope to see you next Wednesday. Mark your calendars. Next week, Saturday on November 20th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., we will host our first Path to Home Ownership Summit. Wealth building is not the only benefit to owning a home. Home ownership will stabilize families, boost the educational performance of children, and help to achieve upward socioeconomic mobility. Our summit partners will include budget and credit counselors, mortgage consultants, realtors, and others. Register today to start building wealth, stabilize your family, and strengthen our communities. Contact deidre.watts@cobbcounty.org for the registration link. Go Braves! What an exciting past few weeks we've had in cheering our Atlanta/Cobb County Braves. I had the honor to participate in the World Championship Parade and had the privilege to meet some of the players. It was a perfect day. I would be remiss, however, if I did not acknowledge Dr. McMorris and her team, including Public Safety and DOT, for a very well thought out and executed plan, but more remarkably, it was done in just days. And of course, to our taxpayers, including all of the commissioners that are here with me, for making this happen. We did it, Cobb County, we did it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. The great thing about following all of your presentations is to see all that's going on in the county and all that you are doing to serve. The misfortune is that it comes at the end of the meeting where a lot of our citizens are not here and don't have the ability to hear it. And so I'm just hoping that these get included in our newsletter, but maybe there's another way to be able to share just all the positive things that you're doing, many in response to some of the concerns that they've shared. We can go on with the presentation. As everyone has said, go Braves. This is just one other photo to give a snapshot of the number of people that came out and supported this festive event this weekend in celebration of their World Series win. This was not the crowd that I anticipated here in Cobb. I could not believe the thousands of people that came out to celebrate. And yes, it's interesting seeing Commissioner Burrow's photos and considering all that has transpired. This has not been the easiest road over the past 8 years, but it's certainly one I think we can take some satisfaction when we can all unite for a win. And this win wasn't just for the team, but I think it was a win to see just how well our Cobb County team under Dr. McMorris's leadership just executed for the festivities that led up to the parade and the parade itself. As was recognized, November is Native American Heritage Month for our country. I think we have still a lot of work to do to reconcile our history, our original inhabitants of this country. When we talk about zoning, we talk about whose land was here first and just how much Cobb has developed from the beginning. And so, I appreciate Commissioner Burrow's recognition of this month and recognition of our original inhabitants. And it's just a reminder to me to know that we have a long history in this country and some that we still are unpacking and learning how that contributes to the way things are today. We are fortunate to have received to be receiving $147 million from the federal government through the American Rescue Plan Act. There is an opportunity for the community to weigh in and let us know how they would like for us to spend these dollars. So we're asking for them to please visit our website, cobbcounty.org/ARPA, to weigh in. There's also a QR code that's here on the screen. It may not be the easiest to read, but there are flyers that are going out in each of the commissioners' newsletter for all citizens to weigh in on this significant opportunity that we have to address the impact of the COVID pandemic that we are still in, hopefully getting out of with the transmission rate numbers going down. But we also want to rebuild after that and make sure that we are a strong county and strong economy following this pandemic. So please let us know your thoughts about this by visiting our website and taking the survey. All right, as was shared, there are a number of town halls throughout the county to address a mobility Bloss, which has been planned for next year, November 2022. Tonight, we will be in Commissioner Burrow's district at Schweitzer Library, and just encourage residents, you can go to any of the town halls, whether or not it's in your district or not. Please weigh in and let us know what you think about us moving forward with transportation. we need your input, and if you don't provide us your input, somebody will provide input for you. So take time to let your voice be heard throughout this process. And as has been shared, just salute to our veterans who have shown tremendous commitment and courage for our country and protecting so many of the rights that we take for granted every day. Some of them have served, but they're still are impacted day to day through that service. And, we certainly want to take time to recognize them and to recognize that ongoing impact. I also want to thank the families of our veterans. They continue to sacrifice as well. And hopefully we will have opportunity to be able to honor all of our veterans with the erection of this memorial that the Braves have supported and Commissioner Brohl has been an advocate of. But we also have veteran services throughout the county. And so, if any of our veterans do need help and support, we just encourage you to please contact us, as we want to do more than just say thanks, but also be able to provide any support or help where it's needed. With that, thank you, everyone, and look forward to seeing you not 2 weeks from now, but next week, as we have a truncated month this holiday with Thanksgiving upon us. We will actually be having our second regular BOC meeting, which is typically held on the fourth Tuesday, actually next week, Thursday. I believe that date's the 18th. Yes. So you can join us here at 6. Is it going to be 6 or 7? 7 p.m. Great. Thank you. All right. Have a good rest of your morning. We are done before noon today. Thank you.